Hello guys, how you all doing? A bit of a weekend. I am back with another very impressive statue. I got this in this week, and believe me, I've tried to film this 5 or 6 times. For whatever reason, I've just not been able to do it. I've run out of power on my phone, but mainly due to the lighting. And I'm probably going to struggle with this. I might even have to move the statue because it's very difficult to show this piece really for what it is. And I don't think a lot of the videos on the tube do it that well, to be fair. It's very hard to pick this up on camera. But I'm going to do my best, and I will, if I can't kind of show you just how good this thing is, I'll go into detail in terms of what I find is very impressive. And there's something that's not really been touched upon, I don't think, on a lot of the other reviews that are on the tube. So we'll have a look at that. But here he is. It is the second version by Blitzway of Bruce Lee. This is based on his film Enter the Dragon, sculpted by Arnie Kim. I think I did say it's 1/3 scale, but if I didn't, it is 1/3 scale, so it's a big piece, and it's very impressive. It's not perfect. I've got a minor gripe with it that I kind of knew about. I've been stalking this piece literally since they announced it, and I was very interested in picking it up because the Game of Death version is very impressive, and I bit the bullet and got it this week, and I'm massively happy that I did. But it's got a couple of little niggles, but we'll have a look at that, and I'll let you know what I think, and hope you enjoy the review. So let's have a look. Like I say, I'm just gonna get close, and I may have to move him down because the light just flies through these Velux windows and washes everything out, and it just does not do this statue any justice whatsoever. In fact, I can see it's doing it already. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly pause it, shift him down, and hopefully we'll get some better light in, and you'll be able to pick up on some of the colours and understand what I'm saying. So just give me a couple of seconds. Okay, and we're back in the room. So let's have a look at this, and we'll start with the base. Let me just come around here a little bit. The base, very impressive. It's massive. It really is big. It's actually bigger than the Game of Death statue base in terms of height. It's a fair bit higher. I don't think it's as wide as the Game of Death. There's not a lot in it, I'm led to believe, but this is certainly a little bit taller, a little bit more substantial. I think it's probably a little bit heavier as well. So it's very well done. There's some very good detail, as you can see. There's like dragons sculpted in and painted up. Really nice. Complements the statue really well. And then with this piece, this is kind of like the exclusive, if you like. With the Game of Death, you have some really cool switch outs, and there's you couldn't really do a lot with this statue in terms of the film, and the scenes. So I'm glad that they actually did do something, and I think this works really well. It complements the statue. This is the Handman's claw, Mr. Hand. Got a lot of weight to this, and you can actually take the claw out. This bottom part of the claw feels metal. It's very heavy, and this is very cold as well, whereas this, I think it's probably just like a plastic or a resin or something. But it's really well done. You see the blood on the tips of the blades. But really nice. I think it complements the statue really well. And then we go down to his feet. He's got his slippers on, and you get real socks again with this piece, which is really nice. The trousers, they're actually these parts of the bottom, they wrap around the leg and they're on Velcro. So you can undo that and you can sort of like futz with the trousers and sort of puff them out a little bit more and move them up the leg a little bit more if you want to do that. So that's kind of cool, kind of like that. But they're really nice material. Really cool. And then you've got that. I mean, that is Bruce Lee. There's no doubt about that. Every angle, it is just a phenomenal sculpt, a phenomenal likeness. Really cool. One of the things, like I was saying earlier on, and I still can't pick this up on camera, and it's very hard. I'll try my best to explain it, and like I say, some of the other videos, although there's not that many videos on this piece on the tube, no one really picks up on it. But what they've done, Blitzway, with this piece, is they've used a translucent resin on all the body, but not on the faceplate. Well, I say faceplate, I didn't actually, but if you have a look at that, this is kind of like this is separate to the body, and this seam, you're not going to see this seam unless you look sort of underneath it. You won't notice it. So again, they've probably used Blitzway have gone again with whether it's like a I don't know, some sort of PVC, or I don't know if it's PVC, but they've gone with some sort of plastic for the face. A bit like the Hot Toys and Enterbay figures, and it does give it's such a realistic looking face, as opposed to going with like resin or polystone. So you don't get that translucency on this part of the face, but you do with the body. But it works really well because the skin tones match, but with the body. And you probably won't see this on camera, you might just see a little bit there, but you get these really nice faint pink hues running through the body, and even on like the veins. I know I'm looking through it at the moment and I can't see it, but to the naked eye you can. It's very faint sort of greeny blue colours to those veins that look as though they're underneath the skin. But more so with these sort of reds and pinks, especially round here, and it's all over, and it looks fantastic how they've actually done that. It's got a really kind of high-end, premium appearance about it. I think it's very impressive, very impressive how they've done that. I mean, that sculpt is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal sculpt. But the translucency, absolutely superb. Let's just turn him around, have a look at his back. Pretty damn awesome. Yeah, and with this statue as well, even if I try and get in, the actual paint application is better on this than the Game with F. Like with the actual skin texture, if you go right in, even so much as the stubble, although you did have the stubble in the Game with F, but with this you can see more kind of very faint skin blemishes and little freckles and very small details going on in there. So the application is better on this. What else can I say? The sweat is where I think it kind of lets it down a little bit. Because what they've gone and done, I don't know, I just love it from this kind of side angle. What they've done with the sweat, they've done some areas of it really well. So you've got some very subtle kind of beads of sweat, and a very sort of nice thin sort of drip going down the face. And when the light catches it, it does look really nice, and that's excellent. That's you know, no problem with that. But and even down the chest, like you've got like a pool of sweat just running down the inner part of his chest. Looks really nice, all into like the definition of the sculpt and the body and all around the pecs. Really, really exceptional. But then on the arm, you've got like these kind of they're just kind of blobs, and they're like in a row. You've got like 1, 2, 3, and they've done that on every statue, because I've been stalking this on the forums, looking at all the pictures and comments, etc. And it's just a bit. It doesn't look natural. Like, you wouldn't get blobs or clots, if you like, of sweat. You would get beads, and you'd get like runs, and they've done that in some areas, which works really well. But you've got the odd blob, and I think on the back as well. So you've got a blob there, just a blob. That's it, and another fairly big blob there. You know, and it's not a deal breaker, but it just seems a bit. I'm curious as to why they did it like that, and it doesn't let the piece down, but it's such a phenomenally good looking piece, an impressive piece, that it kind of just takes something away from it for me. My second small gripe is probably the cuts. Although they do look good, these cuts are sculpted. Everyone thought these were decals at first, but these are actually sculpted, so these are slightly raised. And there is some depth into the cuts, so you've got some very dark, almost black kind of red into a lighter red, which is cool. But for me, I would have liked them not as neat, you know, like the 4 lines. I would have liked just a little bit of maybe some small sort of drips running off, and just just made it look as though the skin had actually been sliced, you know, a little bit more random. But they're all a little bit too tiny. But you know, it's not a deal breaker, and for me, you know, I would probably look into touching it up myself. The face ones looks pretty cool though, but these, you know, just too straight line. I just want it to do a little bit more, you know, for my liking. And a few others have said that as well, especially the Bruce Lee connoisseurs online, if you like. Again, on the back, I think this is too wide as well. I think this needs to be a bit closer. But again, not a deal breaker. They're just minor nitpicks on this piece. But I really did want to sort of pick up on the translucency, because I don't feel the camera's really going to show that. You do have to see this in person to kind of appreciate the detail in the skin, and how it kind of it almost reflects, you know, in front of the naked eye. It's very, very impressive.
In the mix with John Dickweed.
It's weird because you're always going to get into the debate of which one's the best, the Game of Death or the Enter the Dragon. And my initial thoughts, and I still stand by this, and I was trying to explain this to a guy online. I personally feel the Game of Death statue is maybe slightly better, but if I had to pick one, I would pick this one. And I know that you'd think, oh, well, that doesn't make sense, but the reason is the Game of Death one does a lot of things very, very well. This does the same. It's got a couple of things that pull it down, like some of the sweat application, you know, is a bit of a negative for me, but it's just that translucent kind of skin. The likeness is faultless. The expression on the face, I just find it more interesting, like with the eyes going off to the right, and the sort of the position lips, the pert kind of lips. And when I opened this up as well, when I got it out the box, the thing I just thought of straight away was how realistic it looked. It just looks more realistic, in my opinion, than the Game of Death. And I don't know whether that's because of the facial expression Obviously, the paint application is going to help that, but it just looks like a scaled down version of Bruce Lee in front of you. It really is that impressive. But it's like I say, it's hugely impressive. Literally, it's massive in front of you, but it's just a very, very impressive piece. And they both are. And I know it kind of sounds weird saying the Game of Death probably better overall, but it offers a lot more in terms of the switch outs, the nunchucks, the bamboo, the switch out arm. But I just think this looks more impressive in front of you, mainly due to the lightness, and I love that translucent kind of look to it. And that's kind of what would sway me in terms of if I was going to purchase one of them. I'd want the best representation of Bruce Lee, and I think this one just edges it. But anyway, I know it's a bit of a unconventional review, filming on the floor, and I hope you can sort of understand what I'm trying to kind of say, but it is wicked, guys. It is a really, really nice statue. I'd highly recommend it. Very, very awesome. The nitpicks, I'm going to look into doing that something myself, adding maybe a little bit more sweat in more of a natural kind of form, and doing something with the cuts, but it wouldn't put me off getting it even if I didn't. It is that good. It's very awesome. Anyway, I'll give you a little look at this one. I know it's gone on a little bit long. I wanted to try and get my points across because it's worth it. It's a very good statue. Very, very good statue. Blitzway done an awesome job again. Anyway, I hope you've had a good weekend, like I say, and I will be on another video probably next week sometime. Got a few things in the pipeline, so keep a lookout for those, and until then, I'll catch you later on. Take it easy, guys.